Is the Omori manga a good adaptation based on the first chapter? Well, what is a good adaptation? To me, a good adaptation, if it's adapting something that was in one medium and then in another, like a movie version of a video game, for example. Well, there's two questions I normally ask here. Can it expand on the previously shown story? Like, does it add a new wrinkle while still retaining the story from the past? Because if you're revisiting the story, you may as well add in some way, right? The second question I ask when it comes to these kinds of adaptations is, how does it use the new medium well? What advantages does it use? So with those questions in mind, I will say that there are definitely areas in which the Omori manga is a good adaptation. We'll get to the other problems later on, but right now I want to say one thing that I like that the manga is doing is Sunny's expressiveness. So Sunny still doesn't talk. I feel like it would be weird if they let him do that. He only talks at the end, right? But the thing is, lots of times when we saw Sunny in the game, of course, we'd see him in that shrunk down sprite. It just kind of didn't have much expression. I know it's Sunny, so you don't see much expression in the first place, but you know what I mean. Either way, so he's still silent in this book, of course, but he reacts to Kel, to Aubrey, to Basil. You can get a stronger sense for what he's feeling in any moment. They're using the comic book medium to pick up on the slack that, a blind spot that a lot of RPG Maker games have, where you're going to see those zoomed out sprites that just don't have much expression. So in that regard, they did a pretty good job. We got to see some stuff. All of the emotions seem kind of turned up to 11. So in particular, we see the Aubrey encounter, where she gets her bat out and, Sunny responds with a knife. It kind of remedies one of the issues from the game where people always said like it was weird that people overreacted to how Sunny reacted there because Aubrey was already introducing a weapon to the equation. So instead of him just pulling the knife out, he gets to slash her, and I don't know why he went for the arm. Aubrey's head is like 4 times its normal size in this. It looks like a Macy's parade balloon. I feel like that's kind of like, having the VATS system in Fallout and you have an 11% chance to strike and you just ignore the 90% one, but it is what it is. It was a good scene. There was a lot of good camera angles. I love the way they introduced Basil and Aubrey. I really thought it was good. The issue, as you can probably already tell, is this moment doesn't normally come until much later in the games. It's after you've spent a lot of time with these characters. You get to see the contrast with, Aubrey is such a sweet and caring person in Headspace, and now she is this cold, uncaring tsundere who has airhead. But at the end of this chapter, we see Aubrey being sweet in the dream world, so it's like they're showing it reverse. So it's not as strong of an effect because we've only seen one chapter, but we do get to see the contrast at least. This is where I think I touched on this earlier. It's like there's a problem that people have, and it's the pacing. These characters, we're going through the story lightning fast. These moments that required so much buildup before, they're just showing them to us like it doesn't even matter. I totally get that. It does feel like the magic can be robbed from those moments with how quickly they're showing it. The thing that gives me hope is I feel like there has to be a reason for why they're showing us the events in this way. I feel like there is a plan. There is some sort of payoff. If they're showing us this now, maybe they're making some changes later on, or maybe they're rearranging other parts of the game that can be presented slightly differently to give a similar effect to the game. It's something that didn't bother me much at first, but as I saw more people talk about it, I thought, yeah, it is kind of weird that they just showed us that early. It's like, imagine someone had those scenes spoiled for them when they went to play Omori. You would feel annoyed. You would feel kind of sad that people didn't get to just build up to that moment, but now people just have that. So it's definitely strange. So basically the book is like, it gives us a basic rundown of the Headspace characters, and then it shows us day one of Faraway, and it ultimately, Kel and Sunny go on a little walk. There's some cute moments. They're just walking down the street. They give every ship fan like a little breadcrumb. So it's like, okay, we got this little scene right here, suntan scene over here. Unless you're like a Sunburn fan, then this is going to be your personal tragedy. You're gonna have to read this with blinders on or something. This is rough. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you. So Kel and Sunny are just walking around Faraway doing, like little slice of life things. There's an encounter with Basil and Aubrey, as I mentioned. I do love the way they introduce each character. So like when characters are introduced in things and they're done in a way that's ceremonious or like interesting, not Borderlands splash cards, those are terrible, but when they introduced Kel, he came through the door, he was like 8 times taller than Sonny for some reason. Basil turns around while he has a terrified expression and the wind's blowing at his back. Aubrey takes her bat out and there's like a really cool shot. I just love stuff like that, it's really good. And of course the final page is them showing Mari, who, that's a pretty good picture of Mari. I'm sure it's going to be in Hero's wallet forever now. That reminds me, the horror stuff in this is really good. There's a giant hell Mari at one point. There's this really creepy expression that she also gives. Definitely feeling the Japanese horror influence in this. Maybe even more so than the games so far. It's pretty strong. Overall, I'd say the emotion on display was good. They did a great job of taking every emotion in the game and dialing it up to 11. The problem is the order in which they presented it. Someone who's not familiar with the games is going to read this and go, kid got hit with a bat, but I don't know that kid. It's like, so we're going to have to wait and see where it goes. We're going to have to see if there's a grand plan or if this is a complete mismanagement of the story. So I'll continue to keep you posted with these freeform style videos. I don't normally ever do these, but if I'm able to do it in such a way that I'm not tripping over my own words and saying all the time, I'll totally keep doing this as each chapter comes out, and we'll just go from there. Yumaniki video is going to be out soon, so keep an eye out for that. Join the Discord server in the description. Thanks so much, and have a wonderful night. Booba.